Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to the Having It All podcast. My name is Matthew Bivens, and I am thrilled that you are here with me today to talk about having it all. An abundant, loving life. Because I know that's what you're here for. You're here to experience all of life in its fullness and to be so open to everything life has to bring and be able to handle it all, be able to create whatever it is that you want in relationships, in your career, in your family, in your friendships, within yourself and your health, all of that. And that's what we talk about here on this podcast. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's topic is a cool one, because I'm going to be sharing with you a very simple and effective way for you to get out of your funk and get back into your power. And we all know what it means to be in our funk. At least we all know what it feels like. It feels like when you're caught up in your head, you're caught up in your emotions, you're caught up in your story, you're playing some sort of story in your mind, and you just can't get out of it. You can't break the pattern. You can't break the thought. And you just feel yourself going down. It's sapping away your power. It's sapping away your happiness. And you know you don't like the feeling, but you don't know how to get out of it. It's like being caught in a whirlpool, and you just keep getting pulled in. And so instead of turning to alcohol or turning to drugs or just trying to wait it out, I'm going to give you a method that you can use to help get yourself out of the funk so you can get back into experiencing all of the magic that you want to be experiencing in your life. So that's going to be awesome, and I'm excited for you to have this tool. Yes. So I just said the word magic, and that means we're going to segue into talking about magic because, you know, that's one of the ways that you can quantify having it all is through your magical moments. And a magical moment is when you influence yourself, others, or life in an empowering way. And so I'm going to share a magical moment from my life recently, and when I'm complete, I want you to pause this episode and think about a magical moment that you have influenced in your life. Because I want you to know unequivocally that you have it all. Not to just feel it, because feelings are fleeting. You might feel great, feel like I have it all on a Monday, but on Tuesday, now I feel like I got nothing. But if you're really thinking about those magical moments, reflecting on them, and then better yet, writing them down, like journaling them, then you know without a doubt that you have it all. You've got proof of it. So my magic has to do with last week's podcast episode. Last week, I dropped a hell of an episode. And if you haven't listened to it, I want every person who listens to this podcast to go back and listen to last week's episode. It was titled Sexual Confidence and Male Performance Anxiety, a vulnerable sex conversation inspired by Jason Rogers. Now, Jason Rogers is an Olympian. He's an Olympic fencer. He won medals in Beijing. And he wrote this really, really just bold, truly bold, vulnerable, transparent, and very revealing article in Men's Health about his male performance anxiety, specifically for him, erectile dysfunction. And he lays it all out there, starting from his very first sexual experiences, going all the way through present day for him. And I read that article, and I was so inspired by just the amount of courage it takes for somebody to come up and share those things that I wanted to do an episode about it, where I talk about the article, and then I also talk about my experience with sexual confidence and male performance anxiety. And in the episode, I share with you what men can do in order to work on those things and what women can do to work on those things as well, because there's something for both sexes to do, men and women. So if you haven't listened to it yet, go back and listen to the episode. It's such an important conversation talking about sex, talking about sexual energy, because it's taboo. It's one of those things that we all think about, but we don't want to talk about, right? It's on your mind daily, but it's the type of thing that you won't even talk about with your closest friend or your partner. So I want to break that. I want to start healing our context around sex, and I'm doing that through episodes like this. So go back and listen to it, because my magic today was receiving an email, receiving some feedback about that episode. And the email I received from a guy, his name is Marvin. I mean, this was just such a beautiful, raw email where, you know, Marvin talked about how he had been going through his own journey, and he had, sought out some help for some of the different things and some coaching around different things in his life. But it wasn't, and he had addressed a number of things, including some of those sexual challenges that he was having, right? Those internal conversations that were creating all sorts of things showing up in his relationships. But when he listened to my episode from last week, he said that he discovered that there was a lot more that he was holding on to. There was a lot more. And that just allowed him to just open and dump all of these things out that he had been hiding from himself, from his partner, that he wasn't willing to address, that quite frankly, there was a lot of denial around. And so that to me is magic. That's the type of response that I would love to inspire by an episode like that, where even if you've been doing work on yourself, whether you've been doing work or not, you listen to that type of episode, you go and you read the article by Jason Rogers, and it's a mirror. It shows you, because that's what I saw in Jason. When I read his article, I saw myself, and it allowed me to see those things that I had been working on and the things that I'm currently working on healing. And that was the same for Marvin. So that's my magic right there. Just inspiring somebody else to see themselves and to see their relationship towards their own sexuality and towards sex in general, and to see how it's been showing up in their life and showing up in their relationship. All of that to me is magic, because the first step in healing and growing and ultimately transforming is that awareness, right? Getting beyond your own denial and just seeing things for what they are and now being aware of them. Because at that point, you can then do something about it. So I'm super inspired by Marvin for reaching out to me and just being bold and just laying things out there. And that is my magic for today. So pause right now and reflect on magic in your life. It can be big, big magic or tiny magic. It all matters. So do that right now. And then we'll head on over to do some listener love, because I love paying it forward to all of you. You reach out to me, you message me on Instagram, you email me, you leave me reviews on Apple Podcasts, and I receive it all, and there's such major deposits into my tank, and I want to give it back. So today's listener love actually goes out to somebody on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, same thing, person who left a review. So this review came from Laura, and the subject line read, "A staple in bettering yourself." So Laura's review reads, "I'm not sure how I stumbled across this podcast, but I'm so glad I did. I listen to a few other motivational podcasts daily, but this one is by far my favorite, and I always tend to listen to it first. Sometimes I look at the titles for the Having It All podcast and think, oh, this won't pertain to me, but it always does. There's always something to learn and take away from each podcast. I have learned the root causes of so much of my anxiety and depression and why I was feeling certain ways, and just a better outlook on my life. It's not 100% all the time, but I'm making progress. Even close friends have commented on how my thinking has changed for the good. It's truly been a journey to get to this point, but it's an incredible feeling and something I never truly thought I could say with confidence. I know without this podcast, I would not be where I am mentally right now. Keep it up, Matthew. You're doing amazing things." Laura, thank you so much. That is a hell of a review. That's probably one of the longer ones that I've read on the show and just seen there. So thank you, Laura, for taking the time to listen to the show, to give it a shot, and then really just taking time to jump over to Apple Podcasts and leave that rating and review. That means so much to me. So Laura, you rock. Thank you so much. I'm so happy, so thrilled that you're getting something from the podcast. That's beautiful. That right there is another deposit into my tank. So thank you, Laura. If you want to be like Laura and leave a review for me to read on the show, you can do that over on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. And same thing. Those are both the same service or product or whatever you want to call it. And you can leave a rating and a review and subscribe to the show there. That'd be awesome. You can also hit me up on Instagram at Matthew_Bivens, or you can email me at mattcbivens@gmail.com. I would love to connect with you. I'd love to hear your ideas for topics for the show, receive some feedback, things you would like me to do more of or do less of, or just anything. You just want to say what's up. That's awesome as well. So you can get in touch with me, and I would love to connect with you. All right, real quick, before we jump into today's episode, I just want to share with everybody something super, super cool that my amazing, beautiful, awesome, sexy wife, Sarah, is putting together. It's called Orgasmic Mama. Yeah, Orgasmic Mama. And it's this really, really cool membership site that she's created that is all about helping women to tap into that turned on self, their turned on person, and be able to use that turned onness to impact all different areas of their life, in the bedroom and out. Right? So this is about how to be that amazing goddess mom and wife and entrepreneur and friend and everything else. And Sarah's putting all this together in a membership site, and it's super cheap. I believe the price point is around $40, and you get all different types of videos and worksheets and all sorts of cool stuff. And it launches the day after Mother's Day. So that's going to be on the 13th. So next Monday is when it launches. And you can get more information and you can sign up for the wait list right now at sarahbivens.com/OM. OM for Orgasmic Mama. And that's Sarah, SARAH, bivens.com/OM. And I highly, highly recommend this for those of you out there who are looking to get back into your sexy back. Yeah, get that sexy back after having kids and after, potentially losing yourself in the role of mom or losing yourself in the role of wife, right? This is going to help you to remember who you are and grow and strengthen your relationship with self and be able to take that turned on orgasmic energy and put it into all other areas of your life. And Sarah is such a beast at this because she's been doing this on herself for years. She truly, truly walks the walk before she jumps in there in this membership site and teaches you how to do it. So I love it. I'm going to have Sarah on the podcast sometime soon, and we're going to talk about some really cool stuff, and you guys will dig it, I promise. So, all right, let's get into today's topic where I'm sharing with you this really, really simple method for getting out of your funk. And I got to give credit to today's topic to my incredibly dear close friend, Shonda. And Shonda, a.k.a. Sealy Boss Lady. And Shonda she epitomizes a queen. She really does. She epitomizes a queen. And she is somebody who is truly living a lifestyle of health, fitness, love, balance. She has all those elements. And she's got her swag just laid all over on top of it. She's got this like sexy swag to her and just grace and beauty and yin energy. And yeah, Shonda's amazing. So I was having a conversation with her and we were talking about, we were sharing just like recent things from our lives, like when we just been in a funk, like we're just talking about like, man, last week I was in this funk and this is what was going on and this is what triggered it. And man, I sat in that funk for like a week. And, she was sharing her example and I was sharing my example. And then after that, we got into talking about like what helps us to get out of our funk, because there's different levels of funk for me. There's like the mild funk that I could just walk outside and the fresh air and the sunshine will get me out of it. Then there's like a medium funk. A medium funk, I need some more me time. I might need to meditate for a little bit. I might need to just go for a drive and just get out for a little while. I might need to go exercise. That's always a great one for me. Go to the gym. That can get me out of a medium funk. And then there's big funks. All right, and those big funks, sometimes that I just need some time. Like I need a day for that big funk to go through me. Or I need to take some massive action and just like burn that funk right up. Do something bold, do something courageous. So there's different levels of funk. And I know for you as well, you probably have different levels also. And so Shonda and I were talking about it and she shared this just awesome, awesome method. And so it's really simple. So when you find yourself in a funk and you want to get out of it, what I want you to do is ask yourself this question. What would I need to give up to get back into my power? Once again, what would I need to give up to get back into my power? And specifically, what story or what belief would you need to give up to get back into your power? So as you ask yourself that question, you can fill in the blank on this. I would need to give up the story that blank. So you're in your funk, right? That means you've given your power away. Right now you're being a victim to something. Something is getting at you, and you've got some sort of story going on that's keeping you in that funk. So answering that question, I would need to give up the story that perhaps I'm irrelevant, or I'm not the priority, or I'm not smart enough, or I don't belong, or I don't matter, or I was never loved? What is the story that you're holding on to, that you keep replaying in your mind, that is just keeping you in that funk? And that's the genius behind this question and this method. What would I need to give up? What story would I need to give up to get back into my power? Because that is why you're staying in the funk, because there's a story that's running around. So if you can identify that story, if you can pinpoint what that story is, what is that belief that you keep running in your mind? When you can pinpoint that, then you can replace it with something more powerful. And you can rewrite your story. So if you're in a funk right now, do this. Literally pause, ask yourself, okay, what story would I need to give up to get back into my power? Okay, I would need to give up the story that, and fill in the blank. And once you have that, I want you to do this. I want you to speak this out loud. Say these things out loud to yourself in the car or outside or in your room, whatever it is. Once you have that, now you understand the story. And so now what you can do is create an affirmation that is the reverse of the story. So if your story is, I would need to give up the story that I am irrelevant, then you can affirm yourself with a statement like, I matter. I am valuable. And it's a simple switch. It's that simple switch because your funk is just replaying that story over and over and over in different ways, coming at it from different angles, finding all this little evidence, finding all these examples that, you really don't matter. No, you really aren't priority. See, because when this happened, bam, evidence. Yeah, you don't belong. See, because remember when that person looked at you, bam, more evidence. So as soon as you can disrupt that and chop that off and flip it and say, you know what? I do matter. I am valuable. I am worthy. Well, guess what? Now you can go about amassing evidence that you matter and you're valuable and you're worthy. And this seems so simple. It seems so simple. And that's awesome because it really is. It literally can be a switch that you flip from feeling worthless to worthy, right? But you have to be able to catch it. And that's why this can be so effective. Like when you can catch it, when you can catch yourself in that funk, that's when you can be proactive and do something about it. So once again, to recap this super simple method, I want you to ask yourself, what story would I need to give up to get back into my power? When you're in a funk, ask yourself, what story would I need to give up to get back into my power? And then fill in the blank. I would need to give up the story that blank. Fill in the blank right there. Once you have that, now create an affirmation, an I am statement that's the opposite of your story. I am intelligent. I am powerful. I am confident. Whatever it is that you need to say, make it powerful and make it the opposite of the story you've been running. And I want you to speak all of this out loud, especially when you get to the I am statements. Look yourself in the mirror, pull down the visor on your car, look yourself right there in the eye, go in your bathroom, look yourself in the mirror, and speak those statements to yourself. And begin rewriting your story. And now here's the thing you need to understand. You've probably given a lot of time to running that disempowering story. And you've probably amassed a lot of evidence as to why you're a piece of crap when you're running that story. So when you're rewriting your story, you're starting from ground zero, okay? So that means you have to be even more diligent, even more proactive at running the new story and gathering your evidence for your affirmation, your I am statement. So it may not be easy at first. It may not necessarily feel like you're just going to flip that switch at first. Because again, you've got a lot of time, a lot of hours running the disempowering story. However, the more that you start rewriting that story, running your new affirmations, gathering your data that shows that you are incredible and you are amazing, those scales are going to start to tip. They will. And as those scales tip, you'll find that that old story doesn't have as much strength. It can't pull you out of alignment as easily, meaning you're not going to get into a funk as easily. And so you want to just be faithful with this process and keep affirming yourself. And speaking those things out loud really does go a long way in having them cement into you. So speak them out loud and look yourself in the eye. And then, and the big kicker is, go and begin living the life of the person who holds this new powerful belief in their heart. What would the person who held the belief of I am confident and I matter, how would they go and approach life? How would they go and approach the situation that in your old self, it would bring up that old story that you don't matter, that you lack confidence? How would that person who believes they matter and who knows they have confidence approach that situation? You need to go and be that person. That's going to help build that evidence that you are just an amazing, amazing person. So this is a very, very simple way for you to get out of your funk. And I've used this. I've used this method in my car, speaking out loud what it is I'm feeling funky about, speaking out loud what that story is that I'm running. And it's funny because what happens when I speak out loud the story that I'm running in my mind, most of the time I laugh. Because I'm like, this is not true. What am I doing to myself? Like, this is not true. I am not X, Y, and Z. And I laugh because of how absurd it sounds when I speak it out loud. And then I can rewrite my story. I can create a new affirmation. And I just feel myself getting powered up. It's like Popeye eating that spinach. I'm like, okay, there we go. I'm back in my power. And now I can go and attack life the way that I want to. So I'm excited to hear how this process works for you. Please give it a shot. You might be feeling some funk right now. That's great. If you're feeling funk right now, awesome. You've got a tool that you can use to switch it up. And I would love to hear your feedback on how it works for you. If you want to share with me the story that you've been running, that'd be cool too. I'm happy to put some energy around you shifting it up. I can help you craft that I am affirmation statement. So reach out to me. Let's connect. And again, I want to hear some feedback on how you have flipped the script on your funk to get back into your power. All right, that's it for today. I appreciate you hanging out with me. I appreciate you joining me on this podcast. And more importantly, just really adding your energy into the conversation about having it all. Because there's a lot of folks out there who don't believe you can have it all in life. And for them, hey, they're correct. But here we are. We know that you can have it all. And so I love that you are adding fuel to that movement, to that message, so that we can go out there and spread abundance and spread love all over this earth. We can really do some amazing, beautiful things when we have that sort of mindset. So thank you for joining me on this journey. My name is Matthew Bivens, and here is to you having it all. Quick note about the Having It All podcast. I am not a doctor nor a licensed therapist. I'm a guy with a story and a passion for conscious conversation. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are my own. So please consult with your doctor or healthcare provider regarding any questions or issues you have related to your personal, physical, or mental health.